Alrighty, everybody. Just finished my lunch. Still have 15 minutes left on my lunch break. I got 30 minutes. Yay! Or good perks of this business. Surprised he decided to do it that way. He could have skewered the rook through my king. This way, though, he will give a check by taking the knight. It'll likely look like he might come here, give another check, push me up there. He's going to still have to chase me around a bit. If he leads with the rook, well, ultimately I'm going to be like running down here, trying to hide between these, behind these pawns, and have the rook on my other side, occupying that file. Okay, he jumps at that opportunity. I'm actually going to capture with the king. Reason behind that is now when he pushes that pawn on the open file, he won't discover a check on my king, so I have the opportunity to capture it with my pawn, keeping my pawns as connected as possible. Actually, now that I think about it, if I do capture immediately, he can win my other rook. I can't stop that now. However, instead of taking, I'll have to do this. That's the safer route. He may do that. It's not a big deal. He may push it. I actually would prefer that. Automatic development of my knight in a way. Okay, one advantage of this pawn structure I have here for black is, let me show you, it can be a progressive development in a way. I can just continue to extend my reach in a way. Now, this does open up this square here, but, I can now bring my queen here. The rook to there would actually be a pretty good idea. And there's flexibility. Now, this would be a bad situation for me because of that. So I'm going to have to keep an eye out for that. I just did a quick little playthrough there. It's not necessarily how it's going to develop. There we go. I forgot to submit my move. Alright, this is all predictable here. Now here's a little lesson to be learned. In spite of the fact that I now have an isolated pawn on the c file, that pawn right there underneath the queen on c2, look what I've developed, right? 2 bishops and a knight. I can castle next turn. He's got to move his queen. So the danger of bringing your queen out early is she becomes a target. You don't want to lose it, of course. So your opponent can chase it around the board and in the process develop their material. Alright, I'm going to move my rook here, maybe. I really want to free up that dark squared bishop and... You know what I'm going to do? I'm going to bring it here. Because that bishop is going to be hanging at some point, most likely. And it is on the same file as the other rook. It's terrible, though. I'm down a rook and I'm down a queen. Most likely we'll lose that game. Which is a shame because my opponent's rating is considerably lower than mine. Alright, so now my opponent can snag that pawn that's hanging. That's a shame. It's either lose the pawn or lose the bishop, and I'd rather lose the pawn. And let's show you an idea here. Let's see how this works, right? So let's say he takes that. I come here, right? Now, this doesn't concern me. I'll move here. That's a bit of an issue, but the idea is if I come here and he does take that, I got checkmate. Now, likely he'll give check here, because then when I hide behind my pawns, he can do a perpetual check if he so desires. See, you know, I can't. So that's probably the way that's going to go down. I'm just going to deflect the bishop, simply. Sometimes a simple response is the best response. Okay, interesting. Step here. Does two things. Protects my isolated pawn at d3, and it unpins my knight. I apologize for the select words, if you will. It's my dad's friend. People don't know I'm making a video when I'm sitting here on my phone. Alright, I would consider that most likely a mistake. This guy's dropping material left and right. I see one problem with this. I'm just gonna, whoops, oh shoot. Didn't mean to submit that. Alright. Give me a second here. I just want to, Alright, I'm back. So the problem here, see, that probably was my best move. I would rather not drop the pawn, but here's the issue. Right, he comes here. Now I can't take that rook because of his bishop. Now say I do something foolish like this, right, which I won't do. Check, I have to take, check, whoops, the wrong one. There we go, captures for checkmate. So, what I'm going to have to do in response to that is something as simple as this. Now, he can still probably give the check, it's probably what he'll do. Another check, and I can run here. But now, you know, he's got a whole bunch of nastiness that he can do. You know, I'm really in a jam here. I would probably just continue to hide behind my pawns, force him to get other pieces into the action instead of just moving his king around or his queen around, rather giving check. So that would be a foolish move because then he could come down here. So I'd probably come back here. Not a problem. Let's keep our fingers crossed and hope he blunders, thinking that pawn is undefended. Yeah, that's alright, I guess. Maybe that wasn't the best. Bring another attacker on that. Now, however, here in this case, yeah, again, I'm going to be obliged to capture. This will be a very tough game to win, if at all. I might have to play for a draw. Okay, now I can take that pawn. It's all part of the plan. A very typical continuation would probably be something like this. Now that would be a problem for me. So instead of this, I might want to play here. He might castle, not castle. He might try for a fianchetto himself. Ooh, I got a much better move. Check this out. Okay, right? So if he comes anywhere off that diagonal, I have checkmate. Anywhere off that diagonal, I have checkmate. What he's gonna have to do is play this. He's gonna have to, or he's gonna lose the game. In which case, I'll play that. Now, not only do I, but he also has an isolated pawn. Comfortably castle. Or even better, go for that pawn. He's going to lose it unless he decides to step forward with his king. Then I can castle. Now he's all sorts of messed up. So that's going to be the move. Hey, perfect timing. Alright, so again, remember, if he moves off that diagonal, I have checkmate in one with queen to d8 checkmate. That's what we're hoping for.